put out this Tibetan singing bowl to help us center this morning.
Yay.
Yeah, hopefully the sound comes through. So I'd like you to begin by finding a comfortable seat. And any little things that you need to do for yourself to be comfortable, either adding a blanket or some blocks beneath your body, just settling a little bit. And this singing bowl is attuned to the heart chakra, which is nice. It's a nice place to kind of bring balance to. Energetically, our heart chakra tends to be associated with, we hold grief in this area. And even old grief from our childhood can settle here. And the idea is that the singing bowl, that little vibration, kind of help release. And when combined with our breath and the movement of yoga, we can release some old energy patterns that may have settled on us. And the prayer written on the outside of the singing bowl is Om Mani Padme Hum, which is one of my favorite mantras. And Om Mani Padme Hum is essentially saying to those who have achieved enlightenment and are kind of holding their hands out to those of us who haven't yet, it's kind of saying, hey, help a girl out, help a person out. Stuck here in the throes of being not quite tuned in, of suffering, and Om Mani Padme Hum is just that prayer to help lift us up. And so I'll let you close your eyes here if you haven't yet and begin to tune in with your breath. I'll just begin playing little sounds from the singing bowl and hoping that they'll come through. And just allow that sound to permeate inward. And very gently, we'll begin to make our way into a child's pose, into the type of child's pose that your body needs today. So maybe your knees will come max width distance apart as your hips sink back. Maybe you'll keep your toes curled under if the low back is feeling a little crunchy this morning. Anything that you need to be more comfortable here. Begin to extend your arms forward. Press your hips backwards. And give yourself something to settle your forehead into. And with your forehead down, you might just roll your head from side to side, giving that little brow point a little massage. And as you soften here, your head from side to side, notice if there's any gritting happening in your jaw between your back teeth and see if you can invite some space there. And from here, we'll begin to find some stillness. Settle your head downwards. Begin to rotate your palms upwards. And then join your hands towards each other. Bending at the elbows, send your hands pointing upwards, coming to our prayerful child. And just take some nice deep breaths here. Your arms, rotate your palms down, and then press into your 10 fingertips. Lift the palms of your hands away from the ground. Allow for that action to lift your elbows up, letting your shoulders soften down your back. And drop your palms here. Float yourself forward. Come to your hands and your knees. And as you come to your hands and your knees, walk your knees inwards if they're not there already. Join the inner edges of your knees, inner thighs towards each other. Pop your hips over to one side. Bring your gaze over the opposite shoulder. And we'll inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, dropping to the opposite side, looking over your shoulder. And taking a few of these tick-tocks here. Bringing your hips to either side. Looking over the opposite shoulder. And then gently bring yourself back to center. Good, let's walk one foot inwards between your hands. Curl your back toes under, lift your back knee up and away from the ground. And then rotate all 10 toes to center. Bring your fingertips to center. Stop here in this wide-legged forward fold. Prasarita Padottanasana. Draw your chin inwards to align your neck with your spine. Spin the inner thighs backwards and extend the crown of your head forward. One big inhale here. As you exhale, feel that action of drawing in towards center. And then we'll inhale, rotating in the opposite direction so that your hands surround your back foot. Let that back heel spin with you. Lower your back knee down to the ground. And then we'll invite that front foot back here, coming back to our hands and our knees. Good, spread your fingertips nice and wide. Curl your 10 toes under. And on an inhale, bring your hips up and back, coming into this, our first downward dog. Let yourself be wiggly here. So maybe bending and straightening into opposite knees. Maybe shaking your head from side to side. Maybe drawing your chin in and out. Any actions here that serve you. Just allowing for the body to gently awaken. Sometimes I like to really deeply bend both knees and really exaggerate that press up and back of my hip. There is no wrong movement here as long as you're breathing easily. And really being aware of all of these sensations happening in the body. Let's inhale, float your heels upwards, bring your shoulders forward so that you're coming into a plank pose. Hold this shape as you exhale. And then inhale, lead with your hips, bring them up and back. As your hips come back, maybe invite the toes 1/2 foot step inwards. We're going to find a stillness in this shape, this Adho Mukha Svanasana. So the outer body stills, but the inner body is still active. So still taking in that full inhale, releasing your full exhale. One more nice inhale here. And then exhale, lower both knees down to the ground. Let's bring your right foot forward between both hands. Pull your heart forward here, lift your gaze up, nice big inhale. And as you exhale, send your hips back, straighten into your front leg. Inhale here, place the sole of your front foot on the ground, lift your heart, lift your eyes, and exhale, walk it backwards, peel your toes up, gaze comes down. So moving here with your breath, inhaling up, exhaling back. Letting yourself fall into your own body's rhythm here. Guided by your own inner sensation, much more so than my words. Good, and let's pause the next time we come forward here. And since we're at the back of your mat, you might not have blocks close by. If you're working with blocks this morning, let's go ahead and grab those blocks to frame your right foot at the front of your mat. And you don't need blocks, but if you have them, they're handy. And so here with hands surrounding your front foot, let's begin to curl your back toes under, lift your back knee up and away from the ground. We'll begin to straighten into that front leg. And as we straighten into our front leg, you might, if you're working with blocks, want to lift them higher. If your hands are on the ground, you might want to lift your palms up, so creating a little bit more space there. And from here, let's begin to walk your back heel in, coming into our pyramid pose here. So both legs straight, all 10 toes pointing forward. Let's lift up ever so slightly on your chin. Feel this line of energy from your back heel pressing down, crown of your head pressing forward. Gaze is down, neck in a line with your spine. Nice big inhale. Exhale, holding the shape. Breathing deeply here. Inhale. Full, complete exhale. Another nice inhale. And then exhale, let your spine begin to round. Drop your gaze towards those back toes. Keeping your legs straight here. I'm going to find a little action, drawing the right hip ever so slightly back, the left ever so slightly forward. Nice deep breathing here. See where your breath goes in this shape. Good, next inhale, let's lift your gaze upward. We're gonna snuggle your back ankle behind your front. So I find that it's helpful to move my front foot ever so slightly towards the center of my mat. And on an inhale, we'll step your back foot forward. Again, ankle is going to come behind that front ankle. Take an inhale here, stretch your hips backwards, stretch your crown forward. As you exhale, draw your belly button in, let your head be heavy, neck nice and long. Breathing into this shape, this little bit of a twist added to our Uttanasana. Good, and working with balance here, we're gonna keep our ankles crossed. Use an inhale, send both hands to your hips, roll your shoulders onto your back. As you exhale, press into your feet, come all the way up to standing. And it's okay if we lose that cross, let's find it again as we rise. Inhale here, stretch your fingers up to the sky. And then soften your shoulders inwards here. Take a hold of your left wrist with your right fingertip. Nice big inhale, peel your left thumb towards the wall behind you. And as you exhale, arc towards the right. Maybe lift your gaze, looking upwards. And let's inhale here, bring it back to center. Keep your ankles crossed. Grab now for the right wrist with the left fingertip. Find that action of drawing now the right thumb slightly backwards, stretching your fingertips to the left. And again, maybe gaze up here, maybe gaze down. Inhale, bring it back to center. Keeping your ankles crossed, release your wrists. Let's exhale, lead with your heart coming back into our forward fold at the top of our mat. Right ankle still in front. Good, let's step it right back where we were. So step that left foot back, that long left leg into your right heel, back towards the right side of your mat. And then release your left heel. Step your left toes back, that heel's pointing up to the sky. Release your left knee down to the ground. And we'll bring the right knee back to meet the left. Draw the inner edges of your knees and thighs together. We'll come back to that little tick-tock movement of your hips. Hips to one side, gaze over the opposite shoulder. And then bringing yourself, once you've done each side equally, back to your center. Left foot here is going to come forward between your hands. Find this action of shoulders drawing backwards, heart shining forward, gaze upwards. Big inhale here. And then exhale, stretch your hips back, release those front toes. Inhale, press the sole of your front foot down, lift your eyes. And exhale, drop your gaze inwards as your hips come back. And so just flowing here with this movement into your own body's natural rhythm. Each inhale, coming forward. Each exhale, softening back. Noticing if there's more or less held tension on this side. Pretty normal for us not to use our bodies symmetrically. Good. And the next time we come forward, we'll take that pause. And if you're working with blocks, here's a nice place to invite your blocks inwards. Again, not necessary. Let's begin to curl your back toes under if they're not already. Peel your back knee away from the ground. Begin to straighten into your front leg. Good, and as your front leg straightens, we'll invite the back toes in just enough so that you can bring that back heel to the earth. Find a straightness in both legs here, all 10 toes pointing in the same direction. Coming here into our Parsvottanasana. Draw your chin inwards. The back of your head is going to come ever so slightly upwards. Keep pressing into your back heel. Extend the crown of your head forward. Nice big inhale here. And as you take your exhale, maybe find that slight contraction in and up of your belly button. Softening into your abdomen, holding the shape. Breathe in. Feel that flow of energy. This time back heel down, right heel down, crown of your head forward. And next exhale, let's relax the upper body. Let the weight of your head drop down. Bring your gaze back towards your back toes. And again, just feeling into sensation on this side. And next inhale, let's begin to get a little bit taller if you're working with blocks. Invite your left foot ever so slightly towards the center of your mat. And at an inhale, step your right foot forward. So nestling now the right ankle behind the left. Take your half rise here, half inhale. It's our Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, draw your belly in. Let your body fold here. And on an inhale, invite both hands to your hips. Roll your shoulders onto your spine. Press into your feet. Rise up. And again, it's okay if we lose that cross. We'll find it again once we come to standing. Nice big inhale here. Extend your fingertips upward. And as you exhale, soften your shoulders inward. Take a hold of your left wrist with the right. You're going to arc your body to the left. Maybe lift your gaze. Inhale, bring it back to center. Switch wrists, reaching now for the right with the left. Exhale, bring yourself to the opposite side. Maybe your gaze lifts, maybe you stay forward to balance. And on an inhale, bring those back to center. Keep your legs crossed, release your wrists, lead with your heart as you exhale into your forward fold. And that half rise here. Spine comes parallel to the ground. And then we'll unwind that right foot. Step the right foot back, keeping both legs straight, coming back into our pyramid shape here. Nice big inhale. And then exhale, free your back heel. Step your back toes even further back. Release your back knee all the way to the ground. And invite your front knee backwards, returning to our hands and knees, tabletop position. Join the inner edges of your legs towards each other. Find that little tick-tock, side to side with the hips, side to side with the gaze. And so beginning to target here with our practice some of the more stubborn areas of tension in the body. And so targeting today really this big thick muscle on the outside of our legs that really tends to, when it gets tight, it tends to pinch and cause sciatica. When it gets tight, it tends to pull sometimes and cause back pain. So try to find a little bit of ease here. Let's separate your knees away from each other. Separate your fingertips away from each other. Bring the full palms to the earth. Curl your toes under. Bring your hips up and back, coming here into the shape of your downward dog. Let's begin to lift your left heel up towards the sky. I'm just breathing here. Good. On an exhale, bend into your left knee. Float your shoulders forward over your wrist. Come into this hovering three-legged plank. Next, inhale, lean back. Kick that heel upward. Exhale, bring your knee forward, floating here. Shoulders over wrists. One more big inhale. Kick your heel up and back. Exhale, bring yourself inwards. This time, kick your left foot through to the right side of your mat. Press your heels backwards. So my left big toe is free. It's the outer edge, the pinky side edge of my left foot that's pressing into the ground. Both legs here straight. And again, working into that big muscle on the outside of the leg, the piriformis. Might stay here, or you might reach your right fingertips up to the sky. Come into our fallen angel. Good. If that hand is lifted, use an inhale. Lower your hand back down. Exhale, unwind your legs here. Next exhale, bring both knees down to the ground. Join the big toes, separate your knees, send your hips backwards, returning to the shape of the child's pose. And plug both elbows down into the ground. Release your hands here and just make little easy rolls into the wrists. And then placing your hands back onto the ground, float yourself forward to your hands and your knees. We'll set ourselves up to come back into that shape of the Adho Mukha Svanasana, that downward dog. As you're ready, curl your toes under, bring your hips up and back. Let your body settle here. And on an inhale, let's lift your right heel to the sky. Take some nice breaths here. And next, exhale, bring your knee inwards, float yourself forward. Find that three-legged plank, knee drawing inwards. Inhale, lift up and back with your heel. Exhale, draw your knee inwards, float forward. One more time, inhale here. And this third time, as the knee draws inwards, kick it outwards between the opposite hand and toes. Press your hips back into that shape of the downward dog. Maybe lift your opposite hand up. And then on an inhale, if that hand is lifted, lower it to the ground. Unwind your body here. Bring both knees to the earth. And again, find yourself back in that shape of the child's pose, or little balasana. Any actions here that feel good with the hands. So you might take prayerful child. You might take those rolls into your wrists. And on an exhale, let's begin to lengthen your arms if they're not already. Press into your hands. Invite yourself back into your tabletop position. Good. Let's bring the right foot forward between the hands here. Bring both hands to heart center, so lifting up into our lunge. Let's begin to peel the fingertips upwards. Pull your thumbs backwards. Feel how your shoulder blades come together. Lean into that space, finding a little opening into the heart. Nice deep breaths here. And on an exhale, bring both hands to heart center. Keep your shoulders rolling onto your spine. Keep your gaze lifted, lengthen forward over your front knee, then rotate towards your knee. Hook the opposite elbow. Lift your gaze upwards. Maybe curl your back toes under, lift your back foot up and away from the ground. Yuzu. Cat interference. If the back knee is lifted, use an exhale, lower your back knee down to the ground. Use an inhale, bring yourself back to center. Lower both hands to the ground. Take your back knee up and away from the ground. Flatten your hands and invite your front foot back. Return into the shape of the downward dog. Good, let's bring both knees down to the earth. And as your knees come to the earth, rotate your fingertips inwards. Press the back of your wrist forward. Walk your fingers back towards your knees. Curl your toes under so that your heels lift and your hips are connected to your heels. Gearing up here for our lion's breath. And so if you haven't done lion's breath before, it's an inhale through the nose. The exhale is a soft roar through the mouth as you stick your tongue out. And as you open your eyes as wide as they can, looking upwards. So we'll take 3 rounds of our lion's breath. Nice big inhale. Lovely. Rotate your fingertips forward. Walk yourself back into the hands and the knees shape. Good, and now the left foot is going to come forward between both hands. Use an inhale, invite both hands to Anjali Mudra at heart center, finding your balance here in this low lunge. And then next inhale, sweep your fingers upwards. Feel your heart open as your gaze lifts in this shape, this Anjaneyasana. Let yourself breathe all the way from those 10 fingers reaching upwards to your knee, pressing down. And next exhale, invite both hands to heart center. Keep your gaze lifted, keep your shoulders firm as you lean forward, then rotate towards your front knee, hooking opposite elbow. Roll your top shoulder open. Gaze here up or down, whichever best serves your neck. Maybe curl your back toes under, lift that back knee up and away from the ground. Good, and if that back knee is lifted, let's lower your knee back to the ground. Use an inhale, bring yourself back towards center. Exhale is going to nestle both hands into the ground. And then peel that back knee up here. Invite your front foot back, coming into your downward dog again. And on an exhale, lift your gaze. Use an inhale, begin to walk your toes to the front line of your yoga mat. Take a half rise here, Ardha Uttanasana. Then exhale, let your body descend forward. Release the weight of your head. Inhale, both hands to your hips. Roll your shoulders onto your spine. Use an exhale, rise up here. Inhale, sweep your fingertips upwards. And then exhale, bring both hands to your heart. Settle your hands onto your hips. Step your right foot backwards. Bend into your left knee. Spin your right heel down, setting our feet up for our warrior one. So those back toes are going to point towards the upper corner of your mat. And if you feel a little wobbly, separate your feet laterally towards the outer edges of your mat. Good. Keep your hands and your hips, elbows pointing backwards. Option 2 works for your shoulders. Interlace your fingers here. Stretch your hands away from your sacrum. Now keep bending into this front knee, pressing into your back heel. Nice big inhale here. As you exhale, we'll bow forward. Hands could remain in the hips or even return to the hips if this causes a pinching in your shoulders. If your hands are interlaced, maybe they want to reach up towards the sky. Good. Let's exhale. Release both hands down to the ground. Press into your back heel. Activate the back inner thigh. Sweep all 10 fingers up. And then bring both hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Keep your right toes backwards, but release that right heel. Spin your toes forward. Fix your gaze on a non-moving point. Good. On an inhale, we're going to play with how it feels to step the back foot forward and then cross over the front leg. And so it's going to be knee over knee. So find a steadiness. Really hook your attention on whatever point you're looking at. Feel that steadiness of your breath. And as you're ready, let's take that step forward and up, crossing here. Good. Keep the toes grounding down. Separate your fingers away from each other. Spin your palms pointing to the sky. Crossing here, left elbow over right. Good. 3 options as we move towards our eagle pose. Option 1 is grab for opposite shoulder. Option 2 is join the backs of your hands together. And option 3 is maybe the hands interlace to join the palms. Wherever we are, bring some awareness to your neck. Draw your head backwards in space so your neck aligns with your spine. Maybe if your hands are interlaced, your fingers reach slightly upwards. Let's begin to bend more deeply into our standing leg, that left leg. Maybe the right toes float upwards. Maybe, and it's not in my practice today, but maybe it's in yours. Maybe you'll hook the right toes behind the shin of your standing leg. Breathing here into this Garudasana, into this eagle pose. Good, and if those right toes are floating, let's begin to ground them down here. As your toes ground down, we find a little freedom. So lift upwards, lift your gaze to the sky, and then hinge forward from your hips. Let your arms, your elbows be heavy here. Release the weight of your head down. Good, and then unwind your arms here. Unwind your legs. Step wide with your right leg, and on an inhale, sweep upwards, coming up into a nice big open star pose. Exhale, step or hop your feet towards each other. Bring yourself back to standing. And if we've moved, back to that front line of your yoga mat. Nice big inhale here, sweep your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, lengthen forward, leading with your heart, lowering down into our forward fold, Uttanasana. Take your half rise, Ardha Uttanasana here. And then exhale, soften in. Nice big step back with the left toes. Rotate the heel down, point the toes upwards, bending into the right knee. Let's inhale, sweep your fingers upwards. Exhale, bring both hands to your hips, settling here into our warrior on this side. Give yourself a minute, settle your foundation onto the ground. Again, taking that option of widening your stance laterally if that makes you feel more stable. And then the hands are either going to remain on your hips or interlace behind your back. And if we're interlacing, do the opposite thumb on top than what you normally do. So keep bending into that front knee, pressing into your back heel. Nice big inhale. And as you exhale, lead with your heart as we come into our humble warrior. Good, and if the hands are interlaced, release them. Let your next exhale bring both hands down to the ground. Inhale here, sweep the 10 fingers forward and up, coming back into our nice strong warrior. Then exhale, join your hands at your heart. Free your back heel, rotate those toes forward. Fix your gaze in that non-moving point. Allow that steadiness of your drishti point to seep inwards with your breath. As you feel a steadiness within, take that leap forward and over, crossing knee over knee. And then separate your fingertips away from each other, palms shining up to the sky. And as we cross elbow over elbow, this time right arm comes on top. Taking the arm variation of eagle pose here that works on this side. So maybe reaching for opposite shoulders. Keeping the elbows together, maybe joining the backs of the hands. Or again, keeping the elbows together, perhaps joining the palms of your hands. Feel your ears here, center of your shoulders. Extend your fingertips upwards if that serves you. Maybe bend slightly into the right knee to create some space to lift your left toes away from the ground. Maybe take that extra twist of the legs, hooking your left toes behind your right shin. Good, and if those left toes are lifted or twisted, let's ground here. Use an inhale, reach upwards with your elbows, upwards with your eyes. Then exhale, lengthen forward and down, coming here into our hunting eagle. And on an inhale, unwind your arms, unwind your legs, step that left leg firmly out to the left, lift upwards into a big open star pose. And then exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Join your feet towards each other. Stop both hands to your hips, and if you're not now, let's bring ourselves to a lateral position on your yoga mat. So you're facing the long side of your mat. Separate your heels away from each other, bringing yourself to a wide-legged stance. Nice big inhale here, stretch your fingers upwards. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Begin to bend into the right leg. Bend so deeply that you sink to the right, free the left toes. Yeah. Good, so playing a little bit with balance here, a little bit with just being in a different position. We're gonna try to take that opposite without using the hands. So begin to press into the left foot, bring yourself back to center. And then bending into the left, drop your weight to the left, free the right toes upwards. And then taking the opposite, bringing it back up through center, bending into the right, free those left toes upwards. Here, bring the fingertips down. Blocks are helpful here if your hands don't reach the ground easily. Plug your right hand into the ground or into a block, stretch your left fingertips up to the sky. And on an inhale, lower your left fingertips down. Drop your right heel, bring yourself back to center, both hands at heart center. And then bend into your left knee, bring both hands to the ground, frame the left foot, spin the right toes up to the sky. Plant your left hand down on the floor on a block, reach your right fingertips up, breathing here. And on an inhale, lower your right hand down. Keep both hands connected to the ground. Begin to walk your hands towards center, straighten into both legs, bringing yourself into our Prasarita Padasana. Hands stay here beneath the shoulders. Draw your chin in, press your hips back, stretch your crown forward. Nice big inhale. And then exhale, walk your hands back, release the crown of your head down. Breathing here into the shape of surrender. Good, begin to walk your fingertips forward, heel toe your feet towards each other, walk them inwards, and then lower both knees down to the ground. As your knees lower, take a seat onto your heels. Rotate palms upwards, join your fingertips and your thumbs here in Gyan Mudra. Take a moment, breathing into your center. Taking just this moment so that your mind, your body, and your spirit can digest what we've done so far. And let your eyes open. Lean forward with your fingertips. Bring both feet forward, both knees pointing upwards. Reach underneath your right knee. Grab a hold of your left ankle. Invite your left ankle by your right hip. Right ankle might drag directly inwards here, staying in front of the right hip. You might cross right leg over right leg over the left. You might lift your right foot up and invite the right heel back by its opposite hip, moving here towards our cow face pose. So whichever variation serves you today, let's take your hands, interlace them on your top knee. Feel your shoulders begin to center over your hips. Let your eyes close. Feel your sit bones grounding down here. Feel your spine nice and long and straight. Going to keep your left hand planted on your right knee. Sweep your right fingertips up. Bend into your right elbow. Bring your right hand behind your neck so that the top curve of your hand connects with the lower curve of your skull. Lean backwards. Keep some nice space between your chin and your sternum. And then reach your left hand backwards, bending at the elbows. Point your left fingertips up. Option to have quite a bit of space between your hands, or the fingers might join. Keep that space between your chin and your sternum. Keep your neck nice and long and aligned with your spine. Nice big inhale here. Exhale, let's begin to lean lightly forward. Keep your spine long, so avoid the urge to collapse in the front body here. And let's inhale, bring it back to center. Good, settle both hands back onto your knee. And if that right heel is back by the left hip, let's bring the sole of the right foot to the ground. Keep that crossed though. If you're crossed comfortably, keep the legs crossed. Keep hugging in the right knee with the left. Sweep the right fingertips up to the sky. Exhale, open your hand to the right. Lean backwards and then release your right hand behind your body. Gaze comes over the back shoulder. And so option to stay here with left hand holding onto the right knee, or you might take your left elbow and bring it to the outer edge of that right knee. Maybe find that Gyan Mudra here, joining your thumb to your forefinger. And using that action to find perhaps a deeper shape of the twist in your body. Good, holding this shape, rotate just your gaze over the opposite shoulder. Just your gaze, twisting into the neck, looking over the opposite shoulder. And on an inhale, let's take your whole body coming back to center. Use your hands, uncross your right leg from your left, release your left leg. Straighten both legs forward here, sweep all 10 fingers up to the sky. Find a light bend into both knees, and on an exhale, lengthen forward into your Paschimottanasana. Might bend deeper if you're feeling a tugging behind your knee joints. Take a deeper bend into the knees, but if you don't, let's send that stretch a little more into the muscles by pressing your heels forward. So again, keeping sensation out of the knee joints, into the broad muscles. Dropping into your breath here. And on an inhale, let's lift your torso upwards. Bending more deeply if you're not already into your knees, so deeply into the knees that both feet come back to the ground. And here we'll reach beneath the left leg, grab for your right ankle, invite your right heel back by the left hip, and then drag the left heel directly inward. Option to stay here or take that cross, bringing the sole of your foot to the ground and the opposite side of your lower knee. Or invite now the left heel back by the right hip. Wherever we are, join your hands, settle them into your top knee, straighten into your spine, breathing into this shape. Moving towards our Gomukhasana, our cow face pose. Option to stay here or keep holding on to your top knee. Now with the right hand, left fingertips are going to sweep upward. Bend into your left elbow, invite the left hand behind your head. Again, taking care not to press your head forward with this action. Keep some nice space, nice long neck. Maybe staying here, maybe taking your right hand, bringing that hand behind your back, pointing the right fingertips up towards the space between your shoulder blades. And perhaps the fingertips join here. Nice big inhale. Let's exhale with a straight spine, leaning ever so slightly forward. Good. Inhale here, lengthen into your spine. Settle both hands back onto your top knee. Good. And if that top heel is by its opposite hip, let's bring that foot firmly on the ground, keeping it crossed if you have it. Holding onto the left knee with the right fingertip, sweep your left hand upwards. Open your left hand to the left, rotate backwards, plant your hand behind your sacrum, gaze over the back shoulder. Coming into our half Lord of the Fishes pose here. Spine nice and long, breath easy. And maybe take that variation, bringing your right elbow to the outside of the left knee. And that Gyan Mudra, fingers pointing up to the sky. No matter which shape we're in, hold the shape with your whole body, all but your head. Let your gaze rotate over the opposite shoulder. And using an inhale, rotate your whole body back towards center. Unwinding your feet here. Pressing your heels forward, maybe keeping a nice healthy bend in both knees. Sweep your fingers upward. And then lengthen your body forward into this westward stretch, this nice back stretch. Keep your knees bent enough to keep the primary sensation now in the back body, more so than in your legs. And on an inhale, let's begin to walk your hands inwards, lift your torso upwards, bend enough into your knees to bring your feet fully to the ground. And then lean your hands backwards. Lean in the weight into your hands. Draw your shoulder blades towards each other. It's going to give a little lift to your heart, a little lift to your front body. You might even lift your gaze. Join the inner feet towards each other and then open your knees wide so that the feet join here in a little butterfly pose. Keep some nice space between your heels and your seat, just breathing here into this openness. And then begin to press into your hands. Lift your hips away from the ground. Shift your hips forward, closer to your heels. Walk your hands inwards. Loop your hands around your feet. Nice big inhale here. And then exhale, lengthen forward, lowering down. Breathing into the shape, our Baddha Konasana. Good, and on an inhale, let's lift your body upward. Join the inner knees towards each other. Bring the soles of your feet to the ground and orient yourself on your mat so that you can come fully to rest on your back body. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Begin to rock the left foot side to side, rocking into the right hip. Good. You might stretch your fingertips away from each other here, making the shape of a T. And the next time you find your right foot rocking towards the left, maybe that foot wants to plant down. Bring your gaze over the right shoulder. And if this is uncomfortable, you can join your knees towards each other, coming into a more classic version of this Jasara Parvriti twist. And on an inhale, let's begin to join the sole of your foot back to the ground, bringing yourself back to center. Uncross if you've remained crossed here. And we'll bring the opposite ankle over the opposite knee, left over right. Rocking now the right foot or right knee side to side, rocking into your left hip. Maybe staying here, maybe taking this twist now on the opposite side. So the next time your foot rocks towards the right, drop the sole of your foot down, bring your gaze over the left shoulder. And again, always the option to take that classic version, knee to knee, heel to heel, if that serves your body better. And using an inhale, bring your body here back towards center. Uncrossing your knee if that's still crossed. Lengthen both of your legs out nice and long. Let your hands rest down by your side, palms facing the sky. Take a nice big inhale here. Peel the back of your head away from the ground. Tuck your chin in, and as you exhale, gently rest the back of your head down. Find a softness into your eyes, a softness in your jaw. Find a softness in the edges of your skin. Relax your shoulders, your elbows and wrists downward. Give the weight of your seat, your hips, your legs and your feet fully to the ground beneath you. Let any remaining tension begin to unstick, begin to release into the ground. Let your body come to rest here. Allow this opportunity of stillness, be an opportunity to take in all the benefits of your practice. This practice that resonates so much far beyond the physical. Let yourself rest here, just breathing. I'll play a little bit more of that Tibetan bowl that we began with. And begin gently here to bring your awareness back to your breath. And begin to find some small movements to your fingers and your toes. Your wrists, your ankles. And as you're ready, take a nice big full body stretch. And then bring your knees inward. Wrap your arms around your knees. Find some gentle rocking side to side. Let yourself come to rest easy on one side. Use your top arm pressing down to bring your body up to a seat. And bring both hands here to heart center. And drop your inner gaze inward, connecting with this shining light of your heart. And take this moment, thank yourself for creating this time. Bring your body and your breath into union. I'm so grateful to share a practice with you this morning. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.